Good Monday morning, May 10th, 2021. Let it be known, we're talking the farm life this morning. We have with us this morning Chantel Johnson of Off Grid in Color. She will join us shortly. And remember, we said farm life, so she is in a remote area. We may have some difficulties with the connection, so bear with us this morning. Of course, first we want to bring on the National Newspaper Publicists Association's president and CEO, our very own Dr. Ben Chavis. Good morning, Dr. Chavis.
Good morning, Stacy. On behalf of the National Newspaper Publicists Association, Karen Carter Richards, our distinguished chair, and all of our board of directors, and representing 230 African-American owned newspapers and media companies across America, will welcome everybody, join you and welcome everybody to Let It Be Known this morning.
Yes, and Dr. Chavis, in the headlines this morning, he did it before. The former Minneapolis police officer, Derek Chauvin, who was convicted last month of killing George Floyd by kneeling on his neck for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, did the same thing a few years ago and got away with it. The U.S. Department of Justice investigation found that Chauvin knelt on the neck of a 14-year-old for 17 minutes. He escaped local charges, state charges at that time. A grand jury indicted Chauvin and the three other officers on Friday, a federal grand jury. Chauvin next month is facing a sentence of as much as 40 years in prison for the conviction last month in the case with George Floyd. Now he's facing federal civil rights charges. He's being charged with violating George Floyd's civil rights, his constitutional rights. And the other three officers who are awaiting trial on the state side is now also facing federal charges. Dr. Chavis, it's unbelievable what the DOJ has been able to uncover to this point.
Well, this is the first time in 4 years that the United States Justice Department has filed civil rights charges like this. So this shows you that the Biden-Harris administration is different from the previous administration. The Justice Department is different. These cases, I'm sure they're going to do a lot more. They also have the police department in Louisville, Kentucky, now under investigation. They have the police department in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, under investigation, as well as the police in Minneapolis that revealed these latest charges against Chauvin. So it shows you that when we talk about systemic racism, this is not rhetoric. This has been going on for decades, and it needs to be straightened up. I'm not so sure you can reform lynching. You have to stop lynching. These are police lynchings that have been going on, and you have to rid these police departments of the lynchers. You have to rid the police department of the white supremacists. We have to get rid of, in the police department, all these elements that see Black people to be hunted rather than to be protected.
Yeah. And Dr. Chavis, I've heard you say before, certain things you can't reform. You have to do over. You have to basically rid the system of all of the badness, if you will, all of the unjust behavior. How do you do that, Dr. Chavis?
Well, you have to start from the top and work your way down, not work your way from the bottom up. One of the reasons why we got a conviction of Derek Chauvin in Minneapolis because you have an African-American police chief, you have an African-American attorney general, and the lead prosecutor was an African-American. And we had African-Americans on the jury. I mean, all these things, we have to engage at all levels. It's just not a matter of putting a good person in a bad system. You have to change the system. In order to get rid of systemic racism, you have to have a systemic solution. And that is, again, changing the system of policing, not just reforming it, replacing the system of policing, not just reforming it. We have to replace the judicial system. We have to replace the correctional system. We have to replace the prosecutorial system. All these systems, it's going to take time, but that's exactly what we're going to have to do.
And Dr. Chavis, and again, you're not talking about, just so people can understand, you're not talking about defund the police, right?
No, I'm not talking about defunding the police. I'm talking about restructuring the police, reorganizing the police, and giving a new definition to police. Police have never served our community. They patrol our community. And like I say, they hunt. When police agencies first got started, they were slave chasers. And in a certain sense, in 2021, slave chasing, slave apprehending, slave hunting, killing slaves is still the mentality. That has to be changed.
Yeah, absolutely. Want to say good morning to KP Hodges. Thanks for watching, KP. Benji Little, Annette Phillips, Michelle Madison, and Joni King. Too Much TV Inc. is watching us this morning. Welcome all to Let It Be Known. Dr. Chavis, so this morning, today, I should say, is National Golf Day. And
it's a great day, yes.
Yes, and the PGA Tour is continuing its mission of including more individuals of color to the sport. As we're going to watch a video shortly, Dr. Chavis, a video clip, and they are raising awareness to the various programs and initiatives to encourage the participation of African Americans and other minorities. The PGA Tour and the National Newspaper Publishers Association, the Trade Association of the more than 230 African American newspapers and media companies in the Black press family are working toward a long-term partnership in which you, our viewers and readers, will be kept informed of all the opportunities the PGA Tour has and will continue to make available to people of color. It's an exciting day, Dr. Chavis, for golf, for national golf in general.
Yes, it is, and I personally support the partnership with the PGA Tour, the partnership between the PGA Tour and the NNPA. We had great discussions thus far, and it's providential that today is National Golf Day, and so we salute the PGA Tour, particularly now that they're working toward greater inclusion, greater diversity, and also greater equity.
Yeah, and so, Dr. Chavis, here's a little golf history. 20 years ago, Tiger Woods won the Masters to complete the Tiger Slam, giving him all 4 of golf's major championships at the same time. Also 20 years ago, Clearview Golf Club of East Canton, Ohio, was named to the National Register of Historic Places. Well, what's so special about that, you might ask? Well, in 1946, while returning home after serving in the U.S. Air Force, William Powell was denied a GI loan for his plan to build a golf course. Well, Powell secured the funding from 2 African-American doctors, while his brother took out a second mortgage on his home to build Clearview Golf Club with his own hands. He became the only African-American to build, own, and operate a golf course. So these are history-making times for golf and for African Americans. And in fact, Dr. Chavis, they are doing a lot with HBCUs as well, the PGA Tour. Let's take a look at this clip right now.
What's this whole day been like?
Oh, it's been an amazing experience. Being able to come out here and watch the pros on the range and the practice area. It's a great environment to be in, just surrounded around people like that, and all of us have a dream of potentially playing professional golf in the near future. So being out here is a great experience. My favorite moment was so I played with Danny Lee in the Pro-Am when we went to the Advocates event out at Torrey Pines, and I was able to see him on the range, and he actually came up to me and we talked a few. So I'll be out here tomorrow to follow him in his round. So that was probably the highlight of my day, to have one of the tour pros come up to me and say hi. That was pretty awesome.
What does it mean to have the commissioner of the PGA Tour embracing you and your team?
It's awesome. I mean, it's something that I really can't put into words. Just having him come out and just show his support and giving us words of affirmation that we're not very far from professional golf, and to just keep our heads down and finish through the finish line strong, and making sure that we're finishing our education and making sure that we're dedicating all of our time to where it needs to be. It's great to hear that from somebody who has such a high power like that.
You're number 1 on the APGA collegiate ranking. How close have you been following that stuff, or is it just focusing on your game? What's the balance?
Yeah, it's after the rankings came out, then I figured that kind of when the year started that everybody would be starting from square one, and I've just been focusing on making sure that I have everything together so that I can perform my best this year, and I'm hoping to finish at the top again this year.
The number one player from the APGA Collegiate ranking is going to get an exemption into a Corn Ferry Tour event. So you're currently holding that spot. But what does that mean that these professional tours are offering spots for the APGA groups and providing that pathway to professional golf?
It's great to see. I mean, it's good to see that the game is definitely changing in the right direction, and I'm glad that tours are coming out of their comfort zone, I would say, to offer these opportunities to minorities, and I'm very glad that these opportunities will be presented to the number one player at the end of the year.
Outstanding. So tomorrow we'll bring you more from National Golf Day. Just wanted to whet your appetite a little bit about National Golf Day. And right now, Dr. Chavis, we want to bring on our special guest this morning. She is from Off Grid in Color. Chantel Johnson joins us. Good morning, Chantel Johnson.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Chantel. So glad to have you to discuss with the Black Press of America your progress in a particular sector of our economy. Sometimes it gets not the kind of support it should be getting.
Yeah, we are. We've been having some problems with Chantel's connection. Are you with us, Chantel?
I'm still there. I'm still here.
So tell us a little bit. Your shirt says it all. Be a farmer. Tell us about that. Dr. Chavis asked a very important question there.
Yeah, so Off-Grid in Color mission is to encourage others to take steps towards greater self-sufficiency. And we do that through farm-raised goods, field services, and community outreach. Started back in 2016 after the killing of my brother in Chicago. He got shot several times in 2014 and then died from complications in 2015. So after that, I decided, you know what, I think there's an over-reliance on systems that take care of our basic needs, and I need to get lost in the woods to heal, to rely on Mother Nature to supply all my basic needs. So that's what I've been doing since 2016. I primarily raise animals for meat, so chickens, pigs, and turkeys. I help low-income families bring babies into the world as a doula, and I do a lot of education and community outreach on teaching people how to live more self-sufficiently.
No, that's some awesome work you're doing out there, Chantel, and it's done naturally, all on the farm, right? I mean, you really advocate eating well, but not just eating well, but where the food comes from, farm-raised food. Tell us a little bit more about the importance of farm-raised food.
Oh, it's always been important, right? Since the beginnings of time. What farming has allowed us to do is to be a little bit more stationary and control the way we eat and things like that, which has been really great. But over, I would say, the past century, we have been over-reliance on conveniency foods and processed foods. So I've been trying to really get people to just understand where their food comes from, try to eat more seasonably. Even though I raise animals for meat, I do also preach about the importance of not consuming so much meat too. And it's just so important. And when you buy farm fresh meat, it tastes so much better. I roasted in Boston butt last night, and you just when you get inside of it, you can really taste that difference, and you have a great appreciation in the animals that are being raised and sacrificed for our nourishment.
Yeah, and again, just want our viewers to understand, Chantel is really out in the country. So there's some issues that we continue to work through with her video, but we do hear you, and you also, Chantel, I understand that you are passionate about helping lead people back to enjoying what you call simple ways of life. Tell us a little bit more about that too.
Yes, when I began off grid color, I was truly 100% off the grid. And I understand that's not what everyone wants to do. I'm currently not doing it myself. But there's so many little things that we can do to just enjoy simple ways of living and living more self-sufficiently. Whether you're supporting a farmer at a farmer's market, whether you're taking some time to learn how to make your own lotions or deodorant or your own household goods, it doesn't take much to just live more simply. I don't have a lot of clothing. I don't have a lot of material possessions. I spent these past 5 or so years really reducing the material things so I can spend more time enjoying the things that I love to do, like hanging out with family and friends, and putting my energy towards things like that. And so those were hard sacrifices to make in the beginning, but now it's just so freeing.
Dr. Chavis, she really is off the grid.
Exactly. Stacey, what state is Chantel in?
Currently, I'm in Florida right now. I'm thinking about moving the farm down to Florida, so I'm kind of checking out the scene here. But for the majority of the time, I've been in North Carolina.
Oh, right. North Carolina is my home state. There's a lot of farm. I was brought up on a farm. It's a great agricultural state as well as Florida. For young people who are watching the program, all people actually, what does the future of farming look like?
I believe the future of farming is becoming more collective and collaborating. However, we have to reduce our egos in order for us to work together. I want everyone to be the farmer, but everyone doesn't have to be a farmer. We need some people to be distributors. We need some people to be wholesalers. We need people on just how you were talking about with the Derek Chauvin, all those different peoples on different levels, helping to get that conviction. We need that same thing in the farming industry too. So I think the future of farming, particularly for Black folks, is for us to come together collectively to do the work.
Yeah. And Chantel, is there a website folks can learn more about Off-Grid in Color and what you're doing?
Yes, you can visit our website, Off-Grid in Colors with an S, .com. And I'm pretty active on social media, particularly Instagram, which is Off-Grid in Color. You can just learn about, I give really hard truths when animals die, when animals are born, when they're being sacrificed, to my highs and lows and things like that. So I have a very transparent virtual community and following the journey for the past 7 years. So check it out, follow, support, and let's collaborate.
I like that. And you already have folks. Benji Little, for instance, is asking, do you ship food out to the community?
I'm working on it. I get that question all the time. The only meat I can ship right now is pork. But I'm working with a processor who is USDA affiliated, that I'm able to ship meat, ship poultry too. I'm just a little nervous about shipping meat, but I get that question probably at least once a month. So I'm gonna really work hard on shipping meat.
Well, I guess it's a process, right? You'd have to make sure that it meets, as you said, FDA standards, and also you want to make sure that you ship the top of the line stuff, I would imagine.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dr. Chavis, you mentioned growing up on a farm too. We're now starting to see more folks like Chantel, on Black folks on the farm. Tell us a little bit about your experience on the farm, Dr. Chavis, and what you see today.
Well, it brings you closer to nature, to agriculture. Carter G. Woodson used to say, if there's no culture without agriculture. And I think that one of the things that we need to work on is improving our relationship with ecology, with the earth, as Native Americans say, with Mother Earth. We just had a celebration of Earth Day. And of course, there are a lot of African Americans, Chantel, now moving toward vegetarianism as well as veganism. But those who do eat meat want to make sure that eat meat that is properly prepared. One of the things, can you just mention the importance of nutrition? I think when you live near a farm or on a farm, you understand the importance of having a balanced diet and the proper nutrition. Also, having clean water and fresh air to breathe. It's just the whole thing, because you can eat right and be breathing in toxins, you're not going to have good health. Or you can eat right and breathe right and be drinking bad water, you're not going to have good health. So you have to work on all these things simultaneously. And being in a farm, Tracy and Chantel, I believe, helps you to be more conscious of the wholeness of life, not just a parcel of life.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And Chantel, our publisher, speaking of Florida, we have papers all over the country, and we have several in Florida, including the West Side Gazette. Bobby Henry says, he's asking, is it true that we are going to have a shortage of chickens?
You know, with COVID-19, it's just wreaking havoc on every industry. And the reason why there possibly will be a meat shortage in general is because of the grain that's used for raising animals. So that kind of speaks to another issue that we need to work on. Is like, how do we get getting people to eat less meat, and also moving towards a way to raise animals that's not so heavily reliant on grain. So yes, if there's a possibility that we may have a meat shortage, not because there's a shortage of animals, there's a shortage of how we feed animals, everything from our fuel, how we get the feed to farmers. It's just a whole system.
Yeah. And Rosalind Mickens, now we talked about shipping meat, and you said that you're working on that. Well, Rosalind is asking, what veggies can you ship to the DMV area, District of Columbia, Maryland, Virginia?
I'm growing a few little things here. Honestly, I don't know, so I have to get back to you on that one.
Well, very good. So, and Soul Doctor says, let us know, Chantel, how we can support you at Too Much TV Incorporated. I would imagine going to your website, huh?
Oh, yeah, going to the website right now. I'm raising funds for land, as we all know that a lot of Black farmers don't own land. So I'm raising funds to purchase land. And a lot of work that Off-Grid and Color do is community supported and driven. So you can learn more about that fundraiser on the website. So that's a big, huge way to support the work that we're doing right now.
And Benji Little's asking, Chantel, would you be willing to teach people how to start farming?
Oh, yes. Every year we have a homestead workshop and retreat. And we're actually in the process of doing that one right now. It's a weekend retreat where people come out and they learn the fundamentals of homesteading, which homesteading is just a lifestyle of self-sufficiency. So you learn the basics of, how to develop your own homestead. And then we kind of get into a little bit of, if you want to take that up from a homestead to a farm, how do you do that? So this fall, we'll be doing our 4th annual homestead workshop and retreat. And you can find that on the website next month.
All right. Excellent. Chantel Johnson of Off-Grid in Color. We certainly appreciate it. Dr. Chavis, your closing thoughts?
Yes, I just wanted to let the audience know, in Chantel, at North Carolina Central University, they're in Durham, Chantel, North Carolina, they have Black Land Loss Project. There are so many, you say we're trying to acquire land. There are so many of our families lose their land, but we don't pay the taxes sometimes, or we inherit land through group property. And when it comes time for a transition in the family, people lose their land. Black landlord, we're losing thousands of acres of land every day across America. This is Black America. So we've got to do something to reverse land loss. And certainly, as you now have pointed out, the importance of farming, the sustainability of farming, that's something for all of us to consider. I know a lot of us are now moving out of the big cities, moving back to the farm. So Chantel, you're somewhat now an avant-garde pioneer, African-American woman leading the farming community and education. So we salute you and we wish you well.
Thank you all.
Yeah, thanks for joining us this morning, Chantel. And don't forget, it's not too early to register for for the National Newspaper Publishers Association's annual summer convention, which is held virtually this year at www.virtualnnpa2021.com. It's totally free. As we say every morning, there's a lot of surprises awaiting you and a lot of great stuff too, great information and entertainment and other things that you will enjoy. The convention starts in June. June 23rd. It begins, runs to June 26th. It's virtualnnpa2021.com. It's totally free. Please don't wait. Register today. And join us tomorrow as we welcome our guest from the real, Lonnie Love. In the words of Bruce Crampton, let it be known, golf is a compromise between what your ego wants you to do, what experience tells you to do, and what your nerves let you do. Thanks for joining us. We will see you tomorrow.